Many people start the carnivore diet, or any diet really, at the beginning of the year. They started on the 1st of January or the 2nd of January to get their partying out of the way for the new year. And here we are 7 weeks or so into the new year, and some people will inevitably be having a hard time. Maybe they need to fine-tune their diet. Maybe they need to go a little stricter than they had been before, or maybe they're just dealing with that sluggish phase that some people go through before they hit that key phase of fat adaptation. So I thought I'd give you some positive reinforcements today on why you should stick with this. And instead of giving you all the usual sort of pep talk kind of things, I'm just going to tell you about my 5 favorite things about the carnivore and ultra low carb diets in general. So here's the first one. It's simplicity. I love the simplicity of the carnivore diet. Whether you're eating a wide variety of animal meats in general, beef, pork, chicken, whatever your body can handle, or you're sticking to the ultra strict lion diet, or you're doing the beef, butter, bacon, and eggs way of doing this, it's simple. It doesn't take a lot of meal planning. Usually, most of the planning you'll do will happen when you're wanting to figure out where you and friends can go out to eat on those times where life demands that you go out. But when you're at home, it's easy. It's very easy. You just cook up some meat or some eggs, some butter maybe, and you eat it. It's not that hard. The simplicity of this diet, this way of eating, if you want to call it that, is one of its great strengths. It takes a lot of the guessing work out of it. It makes it so you don't have to worry that much about planning. Yeah, you need to make sure you've got your meat thawed before you cook it. I've run into that problem before. But beyond that, you just eat the meat and eat till you're generally satisfied. And then you move on with your day. It isn't really that hard for most people. Now, some people will complicate things, but again, the most basic version of it, before you start adding in any fasting regimens or anything else, is that it is a simple diet. You know what your shopping list is going to be most of the time going into a grocery store. It doesn't take much planning. The simplicity takes a great deal of weight off your shoulders compared to other things like a traditional ketogenic diet where you're counting carbs all day. The simplicity is wonderful, and it really does reduce stress. The second one's weird. It's hard for me to describe this or to give you a technical answer for this one, but I describe it as the lightness. Within a few weeks of going carnivore, maybe even just a few days, you're going to start feeling lighter on your feet. Even if you haven't lost much weight, you will begin to feel lighter on your feet, just a physical lightness. And I describe this in a sort of a different kind of way here. We walk around, most people every single day on the standard American diet walk around feeling sluggish, and they don't even realize this. And this isn't just a way of self-medicating with excessive amounts of coffee or diet sodas or other caffeine sources to try to get through their day. We walk around sluggish and only ever really notice it when we have a carb crash from eating what the world tells us are excessive amounts of carbohydrates. Excessive is an interesting concept when talking about carbohydrates because any amount really above the single digits in grams is excessive for the proper human diet. Whether you're doing ketovore and you want to add in a little, asparagus or something into your diet, or you're wanting to, or you are eating animal organs and getting some trace carbohydrates there, or maybe you're consuming element electrolytes and getting, one trace carb from those. Anything really above those single digits is almost excessive for most people. And the reason we feel sluggish is because we consume things that drive up that blood sugar, that slow us down, slow our metabolic processes down, and cause us to have that carb crash. One of the things I noticed when I went from ketogenic diet to straight to a even kind of loose carnivore diet, once I got most of the plants out of the system, I went through that phase again of my body adjusting to ketosis. Even though I had been in ketosis already, my body went through another adjustment phase. And I started feeling sluggish briefly again. And once I got through that phase, that second adjustment phase, I felt even better than I had before. Lighter on my feet, everything. It was even just the 20 grams of carbs a day that I was consuming that were holding me back. It was something that I will never forget. And I remind people that the cost of the transition from keto to carnivore is well worth it. Number 3, mental clarity. There comes a point on a carnivore diet where not only will you feel physically lighter, but your thinking will be sharper. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to gain IQ points or anything like that, but your thought processes will become clearer and a little faster on the responses to things. You'll be able to address ideas and see things more clearly. Sometimes some people will report this gives them almost like a sort of the mental clarity of like a lion stalking its deer or something when you're out and about in the world. It does give you a sense of mental clarity that is even harder to describe than anything else, other than to say there is no brain fog on a carnivore diet. Part of this will include just having being completely fine throughout the day. Even when you're wanting to go to bed, you still have great mental clarity. You won't have trouble getting to sleep, so I'll talk about here in a second, but you will have your mental faculties will be better throughout the day because they're not being polluted by refined sugars or even fructose from some of these, engineered plants that a lot of people eat that are fruits that have a lot more sugar in them than those that our ancestors would have eaten even 100 years ago, let alone 1,000 years ago. So the mental clarity is priceless on a carnivore diet, especially if you do mental labor like I do for a living. When you do mental work, the mental clarity that comes with a carnivore diet cannot be replaced. 4th is the energy. It goes right along with that mental clarity. When you have this, you'll find you're going to have a lot more energy throughout the day. That you won't get tired until you get tired, and it will be almost like a switch is flipped. That's how it was always for me and how it still is for me on a carnivore diet. I will have a lot of energy until close to when I need to go to bed, and then I have no energy. Instead of a gradual decline, I prefer this sort of switch flipping kind of scenario. The carnivore diet has made it much better, maybe able to perform in my duties related to my work, with relations to my family and children, and just going out and about and doing things on a daily basis because of this near endless energy. And when my day finally comes to an end, I have no energy, and it makes it much easier to go to bed, thus allowing me to sleep better. I still take a few supplements related to sleep, a magnesium zinc supplement, and a couple minor other things. But those most more have to do with recovery from physical exercise and things like that. I have never slept better than I did on a carnivore diet, especially when it comes to the efficiency of my sleep, which relates directly to this boundless energy. I can get the equivalent of a 7 or 8 hours of sleep now in about 5.5 hours every night. That was never something I could do before I went carnivore. My sleep is much more efficient, giving me more time in the day to be with peak energy for longer periods of time during the day. It's wonderful. I wouldn't trade that for anything else in the world. And the final thing is most of the time not being hungry. When you eliminate the carbohydrates out of your system, your body will go through a period where you're hungry all the time. You'll eat 2 pounds of beef and suddenly you'll be hungry again because your body is used to sugar. Once your body's not used to sugar, and after you've adapted to a higher fat, high protein kind of way of eating, what's going to end up happening is there will be times where you might do an OMAD purely by accident if you're not intending to do it, a 1 meal a day situation. Why would that happen? Because your body may not need anything else other than, your 150 grams of protein and whatever amount of fat you had in the big pile of meat you had for breakfast. You might go the rest of your day without having to eat anything. Or if you do eat something else, maybe it'll be something small. Maybe a boiled egg or two, if you can eat them. I can't, I'm allergic. But most people on this way of eating can eat boiled eggs. And they're the handiest small amount of food you can have prepped in your refrigerator or take with you out and about during the day. For those situations where you have that second meal where you're not even that hungry, but you get slightly hungry, you eat them, and then you're done for the day. Most people don't need, or a lot of people will report that when they do a carnivore diet, they don't need to eat anything else. They'll eat 1 meal a day. Some people will start doing long multi-day fasts and not have any real problems doing it for a few days. It's like you fine-tuned your metabolism, turning it into the most efficient engine for food processing imaginable. It's a great thing, And again, I wouldn't trade this way of eating for anything simply because of that effect. How about you, though? For you longer-term carnivores, what are some of your favorite things about the carnivore diet to help reinforce other people? And especially those who are new to the carnivore way of eating. What are your favorite things about it when it comes to that makes your life easier, or that you would not trade for anything? Even like your old favorite pre-carnivore foods, you would not trade the benefits this gives you for having those experiences again. The aim of this is to help people who are now entering that real critical, 2-month phase or so, where people are starting to have a hard time staying on the diet, or maybe they've fallen off and are trying to get back onto it, to help them get back. Let me know in the comments, please, and then like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. So to sharing this on social media, that helps too. I'm Anthony Stine, the Practical Carnivore. Thanks for tuning in.